Can we go into the Brave? What was that whole approach like, and what was your reaction to being a part of one of the biggest independent albums of all time?
I'll say this, and this is not like this is just how I internally feel
Mm-hmm.
about the project.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the most hardest, grueling projects I've ever been a part of.
Right.
It was very fast paced. The fact that, they weren't in the same room together, so everything was just being constantly sent back and forth.
Yeah.
Working on that project was probably one of the biggest learning experiences I've ever had when it comes to working on a project. That showed me not only working with one person more exclusively what it takes to be successful, I got to see a whole different person operate at a completely just in a way different spectrum of skill level. How it kind of worked out was we got back from Nashville.
Yeah.
I was maybe home for a couple of weeks. I get the call, hey, clear, and this is how he said it verbatim. Clear your schedule starting tomorrow. We're working on a joint project. In like for the next 3 weeks, or at least as long as until this project is done. I was like, okay. So at first he couldn't tell me like who it was, and then right when he told me, he's like, you can't speak on anything. So they kept that whole entire project like on the hush hush,
Yeah.
like the whole entire time. Nobody knew, couldn't tell nobody, couldn't post anything social media wise. Like I just knew like, okay, this is no phone unless it's like emergency, it's the studio or it's, family or whatever. Other than
Mm-hmm.
that, there's nobody else that I'm communicating with.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3 weeks straight, we worked on that project, recorded everything. Evan mixed everything. So I just recorded Adam's vocals. Tom recorded his own vocals and produced all the beats. And so I only got to do one portion of that. Towards the end of the project, he was sick the last couple of sessions, and he was like sick. I'm talking like he was sick as a dog. Like man
Yeah.
looked like dog, absolute dog shit. I've never seen him in a worse shape, just being sick.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me up one day. He was like, bro, he's like, I'm not feeling it. He goes, I'm feeling like absolute dog shit right now. He goes, can you bring the studio to me for like these next 2 days? I was like, okay. So I literally grabbed my gear, what I have at home. I grabbed certain stuff at the studio, literally brought everything to his house. In the last two or three sessions that we had, we literally set up a studio in his big ass bathroom that's in his bedroom, and we used Margie, which is his wife. We used his wife's walk-in closet as a vocal booth. I'm trying to remember what actual songs we did that I could say that were done in that room. Fire emojis, I believe, was done in the bathroom. It was like three. It was like three or four. It was like three or four partial verses or parts of a song that we had to cut in the in the walk-in closet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I'm used to, like just because when I first started my career, I used my closet as a vocal booth and used this like little corner area in my bedroom, as like my setup. So I'm kind of like used to that already. But to say like we worked on a really big project, partially was done in his big ass bathroom and walk-in closet. I
Yeah.
think that's like a cool little story to tell. It's like you truly don't need big studios to make really great projects. So that was a really interesting experience. And then I only got to talk out of the whole 3 weeks. I only got to talk to Tom twice. So everything else was more like he talked to Adam. Adam would tell me what I need to do.
Last album.
It's going to do more cultural impact to country rap
Mm-hmm.
than anything else. And I think that will be much more rewarding, especially the way he's using this is his last rap album.
Yeah.
So to leave on that's like basically when Jay retired for the brief moment when he did the Black album, how impactful that album was, not only
Mm-hmm.
as just one of his best albums in general, but then just what it did for the culture in terms of hip hop. So
Right.
for him to walk out on a high note like this and the features that are on this project, I think that will solidify more than anything that like he's truly a legend in this shit, and there's nobody else I would say that can get this type of roster on one album. Like when you see the track listing and when you see like who's on it, anybody that's had an impact of who those people might be,
Yeah.
I will say every song has something unique to bring to the table. And honestly, I would say my favorite song I got to record is the one we just released, which is Gumbo. That was just a really fun record to be on, and everybody brings a unique
Style.
flow
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, like Adam just comes in with just the straight aggressive DMX style bars, just want to fucking rip your head off. I feel like that was one of the quickest songs we recorded throughout this whole project.
Word?
Yeah, because they were all in the same room. I think it was John recorded first, Dusty recorded his, then Demon finished his later in the night, and then Adam came in the next day and he wrote his shit. I think he wrote some of the bars I think that he had in mind, but then he finished it and then recorded it the next day. But there's this one photo I captured of him laying down looking at his phone. He literally just laid down after finishing his last, vocal part of recording this whole entire album. And it was really cool because the foil of it, of what the Polaroid is on, is gold foil. So it just gave me this like remembrance. And I kept saying this throughout when we were recording this album of like this being like the last dance, similar to the documentary of the Bulls winning their 6th championship.
Yeah.
And so on the actual gold foil, I wrote The Last Dance on there. And it seems so fitting of that moment of like just seeing Jordan hit that last shot, against the Jazz. That was kind of like my feeling. I will say, if I have to say anything about, Adam, is he's truly a testament of like somebody that can put themselves in deep shit, come out of it, move forward, get kicked down so many times. He's got a winning mentality and just the fucking heart of a lion. I really appreciate that man.
Do you want to discuss the Billboard you got?
Yeah, so my first Billboard plaque that I've ever gotten was for the record Gotta Be Need You Now. I mixed and mastered the record. So I mixed the record, and mind you, this is going back to big records. You don't have to have this big studio. I literally mixed it on a laptop, an interface, some headphones, and I literally mixed it in my son's bedroom on his bed. Like, it just had my laptop just on a TV stand.
Yeah.
Or like a TV tray, and just mixed it right there. Heard all the different elements, and I just kind of focused on the things that felt the most important to me. And of course, Struggle and Cat's vocals, definitely were the most important things. So I had to make sure I really got that correct. The song was done in 2020, and I think we released it in 2020 as well. It didn't reach the level of success that it did till a whole year later.
Yeah.
And hearing that high note that Cat hits towards the end of the song emotionally moved me, like completely, just like almost brought tears to my eyes, because it was just so good to hear, and just the amount of passion and perfection that she put into that vocal. When I turned it in, I felt really proud of the song. I was like really proud that I got a chance to work on something that was completely out of my element, and most importantly, the clients were happy. Kat was happy with her vocals. Scat was happy the way the mix sounded. He co-signed it, and then Struggle, was obviously happy with it. And then when the music video came out, I was like, this is a really dope music video. It was cool to see like Yellow Wolf in the background. Like, I, listened to Yellow Wolf since I was in college. When I got it in the mail, I opened it up. I was sitting next to my family. I opened it up and got a chance to look at it. And I think I stared at it probably for like a good solid hour, let alone like have, in my physical possession with my name on it. That was a pretty crazy moment. After, I would say for a few months, actually, after I got it, I kind of started to kind of get not turned off by it, but it kind of like, it bothered me having it. And not to make this like a super dark or like, poor me type of thing, but it was like, it made me start to question, did I actually earn it? Or was it just because I was just in the right position at the right time and was in amongst the right people, to get it? But did I actually earn it? Then when we did the Brave project, and that did even better, like if they would have did that individually and like based on the shit that we earned, it'd probably be like 8 or 9 different plaques. That was when I realized, I was like, okay, the first one just wasn't a fluke. I worked on a really great song. It it did the way that it did a year later. That's a true proof of like good songs with a
Yeah.
great message can become very successful just if the people decide to say that. So for anybody that's listening that feels like, you know, the work that they do isn't being validated, you don't need shit like that to validate how good your music is, or how, you know, how good of what you're doing is valid to other people. What really matters is if the things you're doing affect people emotionally and they're coming up to you and say, hey, your song changed my life, or hey, it's because of this song that allows me to do XYZ reasons, that is way more valuable. Now I appreciate having the plaque. It looks fucking awesome. You know, it's a super cool. But now I just kind of look at it as it's a piece of home decor. It looks awesome. It looks awesome next to my son's bedroom. You know, I get to look at it and say,
I accomplished something.
You know, I accomplished something that, you know, not anybody else that I know.
I think you did deserve it, though. I know you didn't know at the time, but I think every moment when you're doing something big, you don't ever know if you really deserve it. Like when I've done interviews with like Jelly Roll, I was like, do I deserve this interview? Like, I'm having the opportunity of a lifetime to interview Jelly Roll. Do I deserve this? I think you always question yourself with something that's like a big moment. And then it takes you a while to be like, yeah, I did deserve this because I've been working for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just takes a while to sink in.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about that, it goes to show that we're humble enough to be aware of like, are we supposed to be here?
Yeah.
We may not.
Yeah.
We may not, you know, are supposed to be here, but what we do know is we're here, we're embracing it, and then whatever happens afterwards, whether it goes good or goes bad, there's something to learn from it. So really, that plaque is just a representation of what one bit, basically based on one song, of what 12 years of hard work has gotten to me this far.
I'm on my own now. Got this fire and momentum, can I slow down? I see you lurking in the shadows, that's your own now. I made this path all by myself, I'm feeling grown now. That's what you wanted, Okay, hold on, slow down, wait a minute.
I'd say Lex is gonna be your next artist that's gonna make you get some plaques. I think he's gonna be that special artist that just pops.
I believe so, man. Like I got a lot of faith in him. You know, when we work together, it's a really good moment. It's you know, we've had multiple songs like that where we just kind of have this feeling of like, man, it's just such a good song. Like, I mean, I've had moments with that with people, but when we did this new record that we just released, Focused, that was another moment where when we got set up, when we started recording, like it started to flow really well. And then even hearing it, I knew exactly the direction he wanted to take it. And, you know, whatever notes that I would give him or a little instance of like, hey, record it like this, he was able to like capture it perfectly. And then he had his own way of, you know, obviously how he wanted to capture it. So, and then what's crazy is the mix you hear is pretty much the first mix that we did.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't too much variation. I think I maybe extended the ending a little bit more. But other than that, like what you hear is pretty much kind of what was done on the first night. And my girlfriend thinks it's the best song I've ever done in my career. My man's penmanship and his songwriting ability is fucking top notch. I will 100% stand on that. This man's songwriting ability is so fucking top tier. And the shit that he's releasing now is literally just like the tip of the iceberg of what he's got to do. And then the fact too that I'm really happy that Kevin Nealon, Create with Canvas, who is also Adam's videographer, that he got excited to be on board with.
Oh yeah, I shouted him out. I was like, dude, he's like, yeah, I also just did Gumbo as well. Like we got 2 of them coming out, and I was like, this man's busy. Like, he stays
they came
busy.
on the same day. They came on the same day. So the fact that, you know, Gumbo came out, which was a super dope song, love the visuals. Like that's probably one of my favorite visuals that he's done with Adam. And then the fact that we dropped Focused on the same exact day. I don't know if it's in the credits, but I like helped kind of produce the video.
Yeah.
So in the aspect of like I helped come, because basically what we do is like when we come up with concepts for videos, it'll show me the treatment. And it'll kind of let me get my take on stuff. So actually some of the some of the visual concepts of it, I gave some input. I don't know how much he actually executed. I can't really remember because I think I just like said it out loud and just like one basic idea, and we just kind of went with certain things. I think I do remember. He may say I'm wrong, but this is just my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think I was the one that came up with the purplish blue color scheme.
Oh wow!
Just something about when I heard the song, like that the color scheme we chose, that's what fit the theme to me. Like when I heard it, like I don't have synesthesia like Kanye West and Pharrell does, but that one song particularly like made me feel that color. So the fact that like they executed the color to me, which feels like it fit the project or fit the song perfectly, I feel like that's when you got a hit on your hands. Is you can have a great song, right, and it sounds like it could be a hit, but when when you actually feel it and you completely go balls to the wall with everything you do to make it the best you could possibly be, and other people feel the same way about the song. Like when we sent Canvas the song, he absolutely loved it. It was like his favorite song. And I think it still is. Like even his fiance loves the song. Everybody that on their team that worked on the song love it. Like, so to share that same feeling and that same excitement, that was like, okay, like we're not the only ones that think this. Like this is just showing proof for every person that we show this song, like is really liking it. So yes, I am a part of a podcast. I am one of 3 co-hosts. It's me, Damwan, which is my cousin who also gave me the Eargawd name, and then Jared Suter, who is also another co-host. So my primary role for Within Range is more as creative director. So I deal with a lot of the creative aspects of, putting together content on social media, bringing the brain and idea to somewhat visually. Yeah. And then I do a lot of the editing and stuff for the podcast as well. And basically our podcast is, we pretty much sit with different people that have unique stories, and we can help share their journey, bring ideas, creativity, and inspiration within range to all of our listeners. Eventually, we want to definitely start getting into bigger profile artists and people that are just outside of music as well. Whether it be people that are in different professions and things like that. So we have many different ideas that we're going to do in the future. But as of right now, man, we're really spearheading just being a part of rap culture and sharing our experiences of how it's impacted our lives and having really cool conversations about artists that we like.